What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Shadow G here, and welcome back to another 2S videos. Today's video is going to focus on the new Sadhu rework. But first thing first, I do want to point out about this class is that it requires Sadhu Vivora to even make this class work or viable with any builds. The reason to that is the stacking system. You are going to get a Sadhu stack every time you cast Spirit Straight, whether you hit a target or not. And for every single Sadhu skills, it requires this stack to even activate the skills. And unfortunately, it's going to consume every single stack when you use it. So for example, let's say I have 2 stack right here. So let me get to cast Prana. Prana also give you 5 stack, by the way, which is really good. And when you cast it, it's gonna consume every single sword. Now, if you have the Sadhu Vivora, it's only consume 2 sword with a maximum effectiveness. For example, possession is gonna get damage increased by 10% per consumed Sadhu sword, which is quite good, by the way, for the bursting skill. For the Astral Body Explosion, you are going to get 5% damage increase per Sadhu sword, which is roughly 25% without the Sadhu Vivora. For the last one, is going to be Vashita Shidis. It's going to increase the stun duration based on the number of sword. So you could say it's pretty good for all content. There are only 3 skills that give you the Sadhu stacks: Spirit Strike, Out of Body Wages of the Clones, and Para, which I just used it to get 5 stacks. Prana stayed the same, by the way, the magic damage 45% and then 35% critical damage. Also, the clone does the explosion from the Astral Body Explosion as well, but unfortunately, this clone only lasts 10 seconds and it follows you around. So it's kind of killed these, I believe, the extortion mechanics where you use Giga Ray for extra hit or Giga Ray to hit the target from far away with out of bodies. But overall, it's really bad. Another thing I do want to point out is that there's another skill called Batiki. This skill alone no longer synergize with other bodies, which is pretty bad. But instead, it's going to summon a magic circles. It can also consume 2 stack, by the way. And it's like 10 seconds. It's going to heal you with the Batiki HP recovery attributes. It also increases skill attack by 25%. So overall, I personally find it's really good for bursting builds. But as of for now, if you're hitting cap with any of the Sadhu skills, it's just really bad. Because this skill is literally completely useless. Going into the skill build, there is actually a few ways you can actually try out Sadhus or build Sadhu in the most efficient way as possible. The first thing I'd recommend is that do not max out Pratikis or Astral Body Explosion once we get a Spirit Straight buff. Now, the Spirit Straight buffs, which include 3 overheats, and it can hit up to 5 target. It has 5-second cooldown, by the way. If you think about it, along with the Spirit Straight Sword Attack attribute, you can actually double your damage by 25% for 2 consecutive hits and increase the amount of Sadhu sword that you obtain from the Spirit Straight. In my opinion, this is actually really good for other player who does not like Astral Body Explosion or Pratiki, but in the future, Pratiki is actually going to get a change as well. It's going to switch from the skill attack to 10% final damage, which is pretty good if you plan to use the Sadhu Vivora. But overall, Sadhu Vivora also getting a huge buff too, by the way. If you already noticed from the screenshot that I show you, you actually get a huge amount of buff from these Astral Body Explosions, Vashita, as well as Possession. Vashita is going to give you a long stun duration, which is ridiculous in my opinion. But anyway, this is actually the standard skill builds for Sadhus. It's pretty rough, but it is what it is. Alright, going into the next topic, and that is going to be the combos. Now, because I don't have Sadhu Vivora, it's a little bit rough that I have to rely on Astral Smites or aka Spirit Straight to do the extra stacking for the Sadhu sword. Now, because my builds include Plat Doctor with Plat Doctor Vivora, it's kind of make the build much better because I apply debuffs every single time, which increase my damage output by 150%. It's kind of good for Sadhu that kind of use a Storm or Double R, but personally, you don't necessarily have to use Plat Doctor at all. Now, there are a few ways you could actually take advantages of Pratikis. I personally recommend using Pana first, Pratikis, and then follow-ups with Outer Body and Astral Body Explosion. This way, you can actually maximize out the area damage coming out from Astral Body Explosion along with Outer Body. In my opinion, by the time you get a Sadhu Vivora, you can actually maximize out your damage with every single skill that you have. Now, because Astral Smite is going to give you continuous stacks or 2 stacks by chances, it's going to allow you to use Possession, Astral Body Explosion, or maybe Vashita at any time given point. Now, because you're also getting that maximum stacks of 6, so you can actually use all 3 skills without any obstacle. Alright, so back to the skill build. Now, one thing I do want to point out about the future skill build for Sadhu is that you actually do want to max out Spirit Straight This will allow you to do insane amount of damage without having to worry about asteroid explosion, Vegeta, or possession, or maybe even out of body. But I still recommend pick up one skill point to out of body. With that, you can actually maximize out the number of stacks right away for the Spirit Strike to do insane amount of damage. I did all the calculation. You can actually do roughly 13,000, 14,000 SFR or 20,000 or more once you get that the swift attack attributes hit in, like proc at 25%. Super good. Alright, so the bigger question is, because all these changes on Sadhu's, how good is Sadhu's in PvE content, especially for challenge mode, singularity, etc. In my opinion, singularity took quite a while because I did not have enough crit rate, but that is not a problem, or shouldn't be a problem, because I have Plague Doctor on my side. Now, it does still take me roughly around probably like 12 or 15 minutes. It's still a pretty standard amount of number, but overall in the challenge mode or in most situations, I feel like Sadhu is still underwhelming with all these changes. I feel like the older version of Sadhu's can be much better than the current version right now. I don't know. What do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comment below, because I would love to hear from you guys. Anyway, that is pretty much for this video. It's a little bit short, but I do want to cover a little bit more until I get the Sadhu by Bora. This is Sadhu G once again, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.